In a bathroom in their home in Sydney's northwest, a mother and her 2 children are cleaning against the clock.
We've got 2 days to get out and have this house clean and tidy and get out, and I've got nowhere to go. So I'm not sure what to do.
They're among the tens of thousands of families in Australia being dragged under by unsustainable debt.
It's really scary and nervy. And it's just ludicrous. There's nothing there to help, nothing at all.
Before this story's over, they'll find themselves living in a garage. The house they cherished sold out from under them. It's lending on a scale we've never seen before. Over-the-top mortgages that'll push you into poverty, punitive interest on multiple credit cards, over-the-horizon interest-free deals.
The banks are just handing out money on credit cards like there is no tomorrow. For me, it's quite terrifying to think that the average household in Australia, so the average, now has 3 months of their monthly disposable income on a credit card balance.
I upsold someone to $80,000 on more than one occasion when they only came in for a $20,000 or $30,000 loan. And it was my job to basically talk that person into taking the extra money.
As interest rates bite and the global economy turns, tonight Four Corners takes you deep into Debtland, a scary place built on easy money.
Why did you keep on taking out the loans?
Because they keep giving it to us.
Our journey starts here, Kellyville in Sydney's McMansion belt. Big homes, modest blocks, big mortgages. It's been a losing formula for this family.
Come on, you've had a break. Come on. You're doing so well helping me.
I'm going ahead.
Diane Davies and her husband Kevin bought the house 7 years ago with a mortgage from St George Bank. He works as a contractor laying floors and he was earning good money, but the work took its toll.
He was worried and he worked till he dropped. And now they're just going to take everything that we've worked our guts out for, to be honest.
A combination of industrial illness, bad luck, bad management and rising rates pushed them into default. They refinanced with second-tier predatory lenders and found themselves being shuffled from loan to loan at ever-rising rates. By the end they had 2 mortgages, one at 10% interest, a second mortgage at 20% on terms they didn't understand.
A lot of people don't know really what they're signing and what they're doing because they don't tell you. They tell you only what you like to hear. Yes, we can save that your house, we can get you this loan, and all you want to do is make sure you have a home and a roof over your head. And that's your thoughts at that time when you're signing. You think, okay, well maybe if I get another loan, that'll give me time to sell or maybe do it up or do something, you know, or the market might get better.
By the end, nearly all their money was going to the lenders, with mortgage payments of more than $5,000 a month.
Ridiculous amount of money. And the kids had to have time off school, like 3 and 4 days, and then sometimes the next week because I couldn't feed them for school. That's how bad it was.
So you had to keep them out of school because you just had nothing to give them to take for little lunch and lunch?
That's right. I didn't have bread, I didn't have butter, I didn't have anything. And we just had no money. We just put as much as we can to keep our house.
You can win. Yes, Mum.
All in vain. Now it's crunch time. If they're not out by the weekend, the bailiffs will turf them out and change the locks.
I mean, if we go to a shelter, have they got their own beds. I don't know anything.
Well, you need to ring up.
The rental market's tight, and with 2 kids, a dog and a bad credit history, they haven't been able to find anywhere to go.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, God.
Just got to hook in, get it done, and
Hope.
pray.
Right, kids, that's your job. Go and pray. Go pray and tell God we need this house. We need something happy or good to happen. One thing, just one. Even. What do you reckon, Charlie? You going to pray to God for us?
Yes. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy name. Thy name.
Oh, she's close. She's
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Substantial
Give
hardship.
us this day our daily
And
bread.
I think we've got to acknowledge that that's actually written down on their applications.
That is written there, but people trust banks. People trust banks that if the bank says we'll lend you 180,000, then I must be able to afford it.
1,000 kilometres south of Kellyville, the stories of financial pain and suffering are just as harrowing.
I had a young guy come to me that had 5 personal loans, one with the ANZ, one with Commonwealth, one with St George, 2 with...
These are the people who deal with the credit casualties.
A total of $104,000 worth of debt. He was on an income of 48, his income's now down to 36, he's got a wife and 4 kids, and we went bankrupt.
Here in the heart of Melbourne, financial counsellors from across Victoria share intelligence and swap stories.
And she contacted them and said, but I only want $500. I never applied for $2,000. And they said, no, you know, this is what we want to give you. We want to give you the $2,000.
So come and have a look at these files. Stephen, you might call it the roll call of horror.
Demand has become so overwhelming, counsellors like Gary Rothman have been forced to introduce triage systems like hospital emergency rooms, and they can only get to the worst cases of financial trauma.
Here I have a client with $69,500 worth of unsecured debts, all with Commonwealth Bank, NAB, GE, Westpac, and another... The level of debt is exploding to a level that is going to cause a crisis in our community. People are able to access multiple credit cards, multiple loans, multiple... and we're not talking about fringe lenders here. We're talking about mainstream lenders. We're talking about the banks.
The pressure was sell them. Sell them if the system will let them do it, sell them as much as you can possibly sell them.
Kim White worked for the National Australia Bank for 5 years, mostly as a personal lender, selling loans and credit cards. He's an enthusiast for old-style motorcycles, and after his time as a debt pusher, he's now an enthusiast for old-style banking, before it was just sell, sell, sell.
We would see people come through and we'd estimate how much it cost to lend them, all their payments, or everything else like that. And at the end of the month, they'd have $100 left over. But sometimes the system would still say, lend them the money, and that person's living on a razor edge. And you know that they're not going to be able to afford it. They're going to live on their credit card for their basic living expenses and get themselves into worse debt. But the system would say, do it. The bank would say, do it, or else you're going to be under the gun, you're going to be performance managed out. So we're in the situation where we lent to whoever we could, and as much money as they wanted.
And if Kim White wouldn't rev up the credit limits, someone else would.
I would say, I'm dropping your card limit to $500. There's no option on that. You know, you take a $500 card so you don't get into trouble. Yeah, sure, great. And then when they came back later on,